One of the biggest misconceptions in FDA compliance is the belief that FDA registration and FDA approval are the same thing. They are not. In fact, confusing these two terms can lead to compliance mistakes, misleading marketing claims, and serious regulatory problems. So what is the difference between FDA registration and FDA approval? And which one does your product actually need? Let's break it down. FDA registration generally means that a company, facility, establishment, or product has been properly registered with FDA when required by law. Registration is primarily an administrative requirement. It allows FDA to identify and track facilities, establishments, products, and responsible parties involved in regulated industries. Examples include food facility registration, medical device establishment registration, drug establishment registration, cosmetic facility registration, and various FDA product listing requirements. Registration tells FDA who you are and what activities you perform. However, registration does not automatically mean FDA has reviewed, tested, certified, or approved your product. This is where many businesses become confused. Simply being FDA registered does not mean FDA has evaluated the product for safety, effectiveness, performance, or quality. For example, a food facility may be FDA registered, a cosmetic facility may be FDA registered, or a medical device establishment may be FDA registered, without FDA ever approving the actual products being manufactured. Registration and approval are completely different regulatory concepts. FDA approval is a much more rigorous process. Approval generally means FDA has reviewed scientific evidence and determined that a product meets specific regulatory standards. FDA approval often involves extensive testing, scientific evaluations, clinical studies, safety assessments, and formal FDA review. Not every FDA-regulated product requires approval. In fact, many product categories operate without FDA approval requirements. Examples of products that may require FDA approval include prescription drugs, biological products, certain Class 3 medical devices, and other products requiring formal FDA pre-market review. These products often undergo extensive evaluation before they can be legally marketed in the United States. The approval process can take months or even years, depending on the product category and regulatory pathway. Many businesses are surprised to learn that most FDA-regulated products do not receive FDA approval before entering the market. Examples often include food products, dietary supplements, most cosmetics, many Class 1 medical devices, and numerous Class 2 medical devices that follow other FDA pathways. While these products still must comply with FDA regulations, they are not necessarily FDA approved. That distinction is extremely important. One common compliance mistake is using the phrase FDA approved when the product is only FDA registered. Making inaccurate FDA approval claims can create regulatory concerns and potentially mislead consumers. FDA takes these claims seriously. That is why businesses should clearly understand whether their product is FDA registered, FDA listed, FDA cleared, or FDA approved. Each term has a different regulatory meaning. Navigating FDA requirements can be confusing, especially for companies entering the US market for the first time. That is why businesses in over 135 countries trust FDA registration assistance. Our team helps companies understand their regulatory obligations and assists with FDA food facility registration, medical device registration, drug establishment registration, MOCRA cosmetic registration, US agent services, product listings, and broader FDA compliance support. Whether your product requires registration, listing, clearance, or approval guidance, FDA registration assistance helps simplify the process. Understanding the difference between FDA registration and FDA approval is one of the most important steps in building a compliant business. Before marketing your products in the United States, make sure you understand which FDA requirements apply to your company. Contact FDA registration assistance today and let our team help guide you through the process.